Let me introduce myself. I'm Michael Sippitt, Chairman of Clarkslegal. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here this evening for this event, marking our firm's centenary and raising money for our nominated charities. Now, as we're 100 years old, I could keep you here a very long time with the story. I won't, but I will give you a little bit of our story. I particularly want to mention the fact, of course, we began our journey in Wales in 2005. So we've been here just a few years, but may I say I'm personally delighted that we are starting our second century with a good base in Cardiff, a growing team, a full office, and an enthusiasm to build our business in Wales and to enjoy working with all our friends who are here and others who we have enjoyed building relationships with over the past few years. We have a huge commitment to working in Wales. It's a big issue for us. We've been delighted with the welcome and the opportunities that come to us already, and we have much to do. After I have spoken, I'll be asking Councillor Ashley Golia tonight to say a few words as well, because we have a collaboration developing with Cardiff Council, which I'm very proud to be able to take forward later this year. We have developed a team here with a strong focus on the environment. We have been very pleased to work with local authorities and to be able to help in energy procurement in South Wales. We have a strong commitment as a practice to the energy and environment sector, so that was the driving force when we opened in Wales several years ago. That still is a huge part of our interest today, and we are building on that in different ways I'll come to. But also we have a very strong team doing industrial relations and employment law work, which is my own practice area. That team is great. We're delighted to have a good team here. And you know, one thing I learned years ago is you put the offices where the talented people are. And we found talented people in South Wales. And that was therefore a very good reason to have an office in South Wales, to be able to get that talent into our team. Now we serve clients in Wales and elsewhere in the UK from Cardiff. We have been very encouraged by all sorts of good relationships here. Clearly some of you here represent organisations we've known a very long time. There are people here, for example, from Lloyds Bank, with whom we have banked for half a century. There are people from Grant Thornton, with whom we've done business for many years in London and in Thames Valley. And some of you have known our firm going back decades. So we very much appreciate those long relationships. And one thing I remarked on when speaking recently in Reading about our centenary was I've enjoyed watching the last 40 years personally of our firm's history. And it strikes me that although technology has changed, and we now have different devices in our pockets, and we do all sorts of different things day to day in the way we work, the fundamentals do not change. And the founder of our firm, Arthur Clarke, who started us all in 1913, would today recognise the core values we still hold dear. Looking after our clients as well as we can, doing the job quickly, efficiently, cost-effectively, those are still the key values. And the client-solicitor relationship fundamentally is the same thing it always was. The technology helps us, I hope, do it better, but in truth the core values stay the same. And the profession is fundamentally that same profession, relying on mutual trust and helping people get the results they need. You know, 1913 was a year a lot of things started. I don't know if you've come across examples already. Has anyone seen this? I've seen so many people having centenaries this year from different organisations. There must have been something in the air in 1913, apart from what was about to happen. I was interested that very recently there's been a book published about 1913. A historian has written a book just about that year to put it into better perspective as more than the year before the Great War. And indeed, he points out how already by 1913 we had globalization. We had many of the modern technologies we now take for granted. The modern world had been created. If you had money, or you were a politician, actually, you could travel the world and see other places. The opportunities were there to build an international trade and investment world that people participated in. We have that today, but it was already begun in 1913. Also, ironically, it was in 1913 that the Peace Palace opened its doors in The Hague to signal the start of international law and order, peace and prosperity. You know, the forerunner of the International Court of Justice. It's ironic that began in 1913, obviously it didn't work quite quick enough. But while 1913 seems a long time ago, what I just emphasise is it's not that long. When it boils down to what's happened over the last 100 years, we're still doing an awful lot of the same things. But you know, we today have to look at the world outside there the way they were also looking at that world in exciting times at the beginning of the century, when new worlds were being opened for trade and opportunity. We need to do that as well, and we are very interested in how Wales helps us to develop these world markets, you know. I want to emphasise here one particular relationship. We've been very active over the last year or so working with the Commonwealth. Our relationship with the Commonwealth has become very deep. This week, Monday evening, we were hosting a special event marking the centenary of the Association of Commonwealth Universities at Westminster. They have been building university relationships around the Commonwealth for 100 years, which have put us now in an excellent position to know and work with friends throughout the world. That is the sort of relationship building that's gone on for 100 years in the Commonwealth. And we are working with the Commonwealth in a new project, the Commonwealth Environmental Investment Platform, launched by us along with Royal Commonwealth Society to provide a mechanism for sharing environmental trade and investment between Commonwealth countries, opening doors for enterprise, helping investors meet entrepreneurs in that sector, encouraging investment in environmental and sustainability technologies around the world. Cardiff is part of that. It is a hub in that mechanism. With Cardiff Council, we'll be having an event later this year marking the beginning of a process we're starting here of a Sustainable Commonwealth Cities initiative, which helps share technology and innovation across cities of the Commonwealth, so that people don't reinvent the wheel. They share knowledge and experience in procurement, the barriers to investment, technologies which work and which don't work. That sort of information sharing is critical. The Commonwealth is a base from which to do that. And I certainly intend Cardiff to be right in the middle of that process, with Ashley's support and encouragement, which I'm delighted to have. We are looking here, therefore, at a very interesting time ahead, as well as an interesting past 100 years. And I think the next century is going to be a very, very interesting one for South Wales, the opportunities in Cardiff, and I hope that one day successors of ours will be able to come and hold an event in Cardiff and talk about the last 100 years and what happened and how we built a new world around environmental opportunity and sustainability, because that is waiting to happen. Now, this evening, apart from talking about ourselves, we're talking about the charities which we support, and we have people here who are going to speak later tonight about those charities. Now, I'll come back to that in a moment, because I'd like to introduce the people from the charities who are speaking this evening. And actually, may I just invite you to say a few words now about Cardiff and your relationship with us, which is very, very welcome. Thank you, Ashley.